All right, guys, how's it going? This is Corey Lee, and today I want to talk to you all about one way, maybe two. Maybe two. This could be two parts. This could just be one, but one way to know that you could possibly be living a lie. And this is one of them kind of hard to swallow things. Nobody just want to know, like who wants to find this out? But I mean, this isn't a universal thing. It can be, it probably isn't, you know what I'm saying? All you got to do is take it for what it is and apply it to your life if it does. If it does not, keep moving, keep scrolling, don't be a troll, scroll. So, don't mind all the noise in the background. I have rain slapping the top of my car really, really hard. And that's just the only thing I have to work with right now. But one way to know if you're living a lie, is if you require an excessive amount of validation. And what I mean by an excessive amount of validation is like, if you need somebody else and other people to sign off on you in order for you to believe that you are, doing good, or you have something good, or you are somebody great, or anything like that. If you need to gather people around you as like a support system to prop you up in order for you to feel like in order for you to be somebody, then chances are you could be living a lie. But this is easier said than it is to be explained, because it's actually easier to explain than it is to say, because it's a mindset that goes with this, because a person can have a lifestyle or have a particular thing going in their life that's not necessarily a lie. That's not necessarily not meant for them, but at the same time, the way they handle it could be, that kind of thing. That could possibly be the lie, is the way they choose to handle it. A lot of times we place our identity in things that are supposed to serve us, not supposed to make us, is what I'm saying. So your job, your career, your marriage, your house, your car, your money, your anything, your ministry, your business, how you dress, your hair, what I'm saying? A lot of times we take that stuff and we make that who we are, instead of looking at what we have to work with as things that are supposed to serve us. That should play, that should have its identity from us, not us have our identity in it, See, now, most people wouldn't really understand this, because I didn't really get it until I got saved. You know what I'm saying? Because it was something that I'd never heard people talk about until I joined the Christian community, until God was able to whisper in my ear and point out a couple of things and send me through trials and stuff like that, for me to just get tired of doing whatever it is that I'm doing that he want me to let go of. Sometimes he won't just be like, hey, let that go. No, sometimes he'll be like, you know what? I want you to let that go, and I want you to let it go for sure. So I'm going to frustrate you with it. A lot of times God will do that to people, man. And that's kind of what was happening to me. That's kind of how I understood things in a way. And basically what he was trying to show me is that he don't want me to have my identity in anything other than him, and it don't really matter what I do for a living. It don't matter where I go. It don't matter what I look like, how I dress. I'm always the same person to God, no matter what. It don't matter if I got negative $100 or plus 100 million. I'm still the same person to him regardless. And that's how we ought to operate. You know what I'm saying? That's kind of how, that's kind of how we are meant to be and we were designed to be. You know, the things that we have in our life, the people we have in our life, the things we do with our life is just here to be a servant. You know, it's here to serve us. It's not here for us to be its child or anything like that, you know? So, like, if you always find yourself needing people to pat you on the back, if you always find yourself needing people to tell you that you're doing a good job, man, like, chances are, like, your head could be twisted around in your perspective and what it is you actually need to be paying attention to. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't need people to tell me that I'm doing a good job. I don't care if nobody else told me another day in my life. I absolutely know I did, you know, because that's what I wake up and do on purpose. Do a good job at what? Anything. Just do a good job at any and everything. I'm sure everybody know I detail cars, I clean stuff, I clean carpets, I clean all the stuff, okay? I do janitorial, I do move out apartment cleanings, I do before you move in apartment cleanings, I clean windows, like I you know, and it's like a lot of times, you know, a lot of people would try to not try to, but a lot of people do support me and stuff like that, and I appreciate it. But like, if nobody in the world ever said, "Hey man, you did such a great job," I already know I did, because I said to myself, I'm gonna make sure this is done right. And if it's not done right, I'm sorry, I did my best, or I might have missed something. You know what I'm saying? But like I don't really need, like, you know, I don't need 1 million followers or like a bunch of people supporting me. Like, if they did, great. You know what I'm saying? I appreciate it. I appreciate it more than if they didn't. But if they didn't, it's not like it's the end of the world. You know what I'm saying? It's just, hey, I'm just here to do a job, earn a living, and do what I need to do. You know what I'm saying? That's it. Like, that's just it. Like, that's the bulk of the story. You know what I mean? And sometimes, man, like, we try to use the things that we have with our life to make us somebody, when, like, you were already somebody before you even did anything, before you even came out of your mouth, like before you came out of your mother's womb, you were somebody, you know? And it's all about trying to figure that out. Like, who am I? What am I? What am I meant to be doing here? You know, like one of the questions, the last question that I accidentally asked myself. I didn't know that I was asking this question, like, for a long time. I didn't know I was asking this question. And I didn't even know that the only person who could answer this question was Jesus Christ. But the last question that I was asking myself, day after day after day after day, is this: what is true? Because I'm gonna tell you why I asked that question in a minute. I just want to make sure my mic is still on. Okay, it is. So the reason why I asked that question in the first place is because, you know, at a point in time, I was a very fantasy-stricken person, which is how I know this. You know what I mean? If you've never been a fool before, how can you ever wisen up? How can you ever really know how not to do a foolish thing as far as that go if it never been you before? But I was a very fantasy-stricken person. You know, from the age of 14, I absolutely believed that one day I was going to be a famous rapper. You know, that's what most people think. You know, like, most people this day and age grow up saying to themselves, I'm either going to be rich or famous or nothing. Rich, famous, and nothing else. That's it. You know, most people got the mindset that they just going to You know, like they just gonna somehow spring up into something just because of how they felt about themselves or how they wanted other people to take them. You know what I'm saying? And that's a fantasy that people like. It's a fantasy that people live in, and they make their own worlds around, you know, their own limited perspective, and they try to make everything else fit into that world. And that's why, you know, they always complain so much about the lack of support, is because like they're trying to force the world into their world. And truthfully, the world is so much bigger than your world. It will absolutely frustrate you to try and fit it in there. You know, you try and fit people into your world. You have to be what I think a person like you should be. And if you're not, then you're just going to frustrate me. Like that's why so many relationships don't last. That's why so many people don't, you know, like don't stay dedicated to certain things. And I'm guilty of not staying dedicated to certain things because I tried a lot of stuff in my life before. You know what I mean? And like, there's nothing wrong with trying until you discover it. That's the only way you can discover it, really. But almost everybody might end up walking through, you know, like living out some kind of make-believe world that they make in their own heads, you know? And truthfully, like when you pop somebody's make-believe bubble, there will be conflict. Like, I'm saying this right now with a conflict going on inside of myself, making sure I'm sitting there scanning every aspect of myself. Like, am I telling the truth? Is this who am I talking about me? Am I even like that? Oh, wait a minute. Let me make sure. Oh, no, that's not me. Let me make sure I'm saying this with a clear head and nobody can point a finger back at me and judge me for the same thing. All right. Like, there's a conflict going on when you get exposed to something that's true, because it calls you to continually scan yourself, like boom, 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 boom. So like anybody who live in a make-believe bubble, like when that thing come crashing down, there will be an extreme war that go on the inside of yourself. Idols die hard, bro. They really do. And if you are your own idol, you will die real hard. That's why, oh man, that's why it's not even worth having them, to be honest, because eventually they do die, and when they do die, they die real hard, and you can either choose to die with them or you can choose to let them die on their own. But, you know, like this is a hard thing to even say to a person, because it's difficult for somebody to spend their whole life doing a certain thing or working towards a certain goal just for somebody to say you're living a lie. Like, that's hard to swallow. Hey, you are living a lie. That's not for you. But, you know, what you doing might be for you. Just how you go about practicing what it is you're doing is just not for you. You're not meant to be somebody that's on stage being worshiped by the crowd. That's Jesus's job. You know, that's why it frustrates you. That's why you can't ever seem to find peace in your mind. You know, like, you're not meant to be worshiped by your significant other. That's Jesus's job, to be worshiped. That's why you can't ever seem to get enough. That's why it always frustrates you when they don't do it. You are not meant to be worshiped on your job. That's why every time you do a good job and nobody recognizes you, it make you mad. Because it's not meant for you to be like that. If nobody ever pats you on the back, you should be fine with that. Why? Because as long as you know that you did what you supposed to do, who other than God can judge you? You know, because see, like, one thing that is real hard for anybody in the world to do is make every single last move, or at least try to make every last move, or most of them. I mean, the goal is everyone, but most of the time we don't do that. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes we go with our feelings, and sometimes we just let stuff slide, and sometimes we just kind of slack. But do and consider everything as if God is going to judge it in the end. how you go to work and how you do your job as if God is going to judge it in the end. How you get in the studio and record your music as if God is going to judge it in the end. How you treat your neighbor as if God is going to judge it in the end. If you pay your bills on time, if you can, as if God is going to judge it in the end. If you fulfill your obligations, as if God is going to judge it in the end. If you keep your word with people, as if God is going to judge it in the end. Now, I get it. Now, sometimes you can't always fulfill your end of the deal because sometimes, like things happen and God knows stuff happen. God knows stuff happen. He know that you might even be trying to do something that ain't meant for you anyway. And he might be the one that cause you to not be able to fulfill the end of your deal. But guess what? That's out of your control. And he know that's out of your control. So when stuff happen that's out of your control, you can't just sit back and be like, oh, I did such a terrible job. God is going to judge me as somebody that did something bad. It's like, no, like he judges the intents and purposes of a man's heart. Not only what they do or don't do, but what they intended to do by what they did. I can intend to do good and end up doing bad, but that don't mean that God is going to judge me for being bad. He's like, you really intended on doing the right thing. You just didn't know it was going to backfire. You know what I'm saying? Like, and he look at that like that. But when you wake up in the morning and say to yourself, I want 1 million people loving everything about me. I want all the likes. I want all the loves. I want all the hearts. I want people to clap for me. I want people to take off their hat for me. Y'all gonna feel me today. Y'all gonna stop sleeping on me. Bro, when you wake up and that's your attitude, that's gonna crash down on you so hard, bro. And it's not even worth living like that, because when that actually come crashing down, it's gonna hurt you more than it has ever helped you. When your little... like when your crutches and support systems and all that stuff come crashing down, it's going to hurt you more than it ever even helped you. When your arrogant ego and attitude come crashing down, it's going to hurt you more than it has ever helped you. So it's almost like it's not even worth going there. Like having an ego is almost like it's almost like shooting heroin. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, you might feel high when you got it, but when it come crashing down, you're going to be so much lower than you were ever even high. Don't ask me how I know. I've been around heroin addicts my whole, like a long time. You know what I'm saying? I see what heroin addicts go through. I'm like, dang, bruh. You was just having so much fun yesterday and you ain't got no dope and now you just... Bruh, like, man, you stealing from neighbors and from your family and can't get out of bed and just falling over and you just sitting back thinking like, was the trip even worth that? Bro, and that's what having an ego is like, bro. It's almost like being addicted to a drug, because once you start coming down and once it's not there, once it don't work, it's almost like it hurt you more than it has ever even helped you. Just imagine, like being up for like 3 hours, just drinking at the bar, at the club, drinking, having a good old time, feeling good. And then you wake up the next morning and you got a headache all day long and you feel like somebody done sucked all the nutrients out of your body. And the only thing that'll make you happy is some French fries and a Coca-Cola. And then that still don't even work, and you somewhere trying to bum a Percocet off somebody to help you deal with the hangover. And bruh, listen, it hurt you more than it has helped you. That's what, that's what being on an ego trip is about. It's called a trip for a reason, because when trips end, it's almost like it's devastating. I was just having so much fun and now we got to go back home. Like, I should have just stayed home. Like, I don't want to go home now after all this, you know. And sometimes that's how we really got to sit back and think, like, you know, like, what is my motive behind what it is I'm doing? You know, why do I need so much validation? Why do I need so many people to tell me, oh, good job. Oh, man, you, like, if people do, that's great. You know what I'm saying? Like, the Bible says that it is not honorable to seek after your own honor. You know, it's not honorable to seek your own honor. Let another praise you and not your own lips. Like, it's bruh, it's not cool to try to be cool. You either cool or you ain't, you know? Other than that, you just lying and kick it. If you ain't cool, embrace not being cool. Somebody might like your lack of coolness because they accept the fact that you accept yourself. And that's why I was getting ready to say that this might be two parts. It might be two things. Because sometimes, like, this all come from the fact that you really just don't accept yourself for who you are. You know, we tend to put on an image because we don't like the person in the mirror. So we got to try and keep up with some kind of image to try and project a certain person to other people who we really are not, you know. Let me see if my mic's still on. Hold on a second. So, like, you know, like, we try and keep an image. We try and, you know, we try and make sure we always got nice clothes. We try and make sure we stay with us a nice car. It's like, yeah, ain't nothing wrong with having that stuff, but if you got that stuff to project the image to people, to make people think that you are what you're not, then chances are, not even chances are, but I mean, technically you're living a lie. Like, if you just got nice stuff because that's what you like, that's what you can afford, fine. I mean, who cares? Hey, ain't nothing wrong with having nice stuff. But it's something wrong when you're literally on purpose trying to project an image to people because you really don't like the person you are. You know, the person I am. Let me just go ahead and break down myself to y'all real quick. I'm a nerd. All right. I'm a geek. Okay. I'm a square. All right. I'm just too straight up and down. I'm practical to the core. I think I'm funny. I really do think I am. I really might not be. Like honestly, but I think I am to me. That's it. I think I'm funny to me. I ain't trying to be funny to other people. I just hear stuff that I think sound like a good joke, and I just say it because I thought it was a good joke to me. You know what I'm saying? And that's it. Who cares if everybody else didn't catch it? To me, I just amused myself with what I thought was a funny joke that flew over your head. You know, and that's just, you know, that's just what it is. And some people can't just look at themselves in the mirror and just be like, real talk, bro. I mean, you know, like, to be all the way honest, I might have grew up in the hood, but I ain't really street though. Like, I ain't really no street nig though. Like, for real, what am I doing? Like, you just be sitting there thinking, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I might have came up with these cats, but, you know, they're a little different than me. Like, I need to be somewhere at the library picking up a book or something like that. I don't really need to be hanging out in a trap. Like, bro, like, a lot of people can't look at themselves and say that. Some people can't do that. Some people can't look at themselves and be like, you know what? I got a problem with procrastinating. I'm a big procrastinator. What's wrong with me? Once you're able to just be able to say that, that's when you can start making real moves with your life. Because when you can look at who you are, you able to see what it is that you have to work with. That's like, you know, like, not being able to look at yourself for who you are and trying to make moves with your life is like, it's like picking up a random toolbox that you don't even know what's in it and trying to go work on a car. You don't even know if you got what it takes to be able to change that starter. Why is you just picking up a toolbox and just going at it? You have to examine what's in there. You have to examine what it is you need to do. And then you know, okay, all I got is a pair of vice grips. That's it. What can I do with that? Almost nothing. You might be able to take that starter off. It's just 2 bolts. But just know this. You ain't got a jack. You ain't got a jack stand. Bruh, and by knowing that, you know, okay, so that means I got to work on this in a particular area at a particular time. It's going to take me a minute. I might bust my knuckles up. I might get frustrated. I'm able to brace myself for all of that. But if you don't really want to sit back and examine yourself for who you are, you will go in any given situation unprepared to handle it. I know who I am. Well, first of all, you got to know the God that made you, or else you can't know who you are. Like, nobody gets to know who they are outside of knowing the God that made them. That's just common sense, bro. That's just really common sense. You know what I'm saying? Like you want to know who you are, go get to know the God that made you. He'll tell you. He'll tell you straight up and down who you are. And you might not even like it. But guess what? As you start embracing it, you'll be like, man, you know what? You was right. You was absolutely right all this time. I hated myself. I was allergic to myself all these years. That's why I stayed drunk. That's why I couldn't be happy with people. That's why I did this and always been like this. I was allergic to myself. Why? Because I was so distant from the God that made me. You know what I'm saying? And the more distant I grow from the God that made me, the more and more I drift away from the person he made me to be. You know? I'm going to tell you a funny story, okay? I think I might have told somebody this story once before. But no, I might have actually said this on camera a long time ago. But I mean, it might not be that big of a deal, but this just an example of what it is I'm saying, right? Just being able to accept yourself for who you are, and then that way, every move you make in life will be that much more effective, right? So I remember when I was like 23 years old, like maybe 21, 22, 23, I was at least old enough to drink, because I remember getting my first paycheck and I went and bought me a bottle of Pinnacle, the vanilla kind. And I had to ride the bus home with a bottle of Pinnacle on the bus. I remember that, bro. And I remember getting kicked off the bus. But I was young and stupid, bro. You know what I'm saying? But I remember that. So I had to at least been older than 21, So this was at least almost 10 years ago. But I remember I started a job. It was actually my first real job, and this was the biggest turning point in my life that I'll never really forget. And I remember starting my first ever real job as a janitor, and I think that was like my last ever real job too. But that's why it means so much to me, because I was never the kind of person that liked to work jobs. I only did it because I had to, but if I had it my way, I would be self-employed. But I started my first real job working a janitor. Being a janitor. I was in music. I got into photography. I kind of put the music thing behind me for certain reasons. I'll talk about that later, just not today. But I started to like photography a whole lot, I really did. I've always been a very artistic person. I've always been involved in the arts and things like that. And so the more and more I used to work every day, working this job that's sucking the soul out of me. And I'm like, man, this job is really sucking the soul out of me. I really can't do anything other than this. This is all I can do ever. You know what I mean? And the thing about this was that I actually liked the job. I was good at it. I liked it. I was almost too good at it in a way. Everybody loved me working there. Well, at least the people I worked around did, but I can't really speak for everybody else. I mean having 4 birthday cakes to take home once a year, from like, I used to work inside the child support children's services building. I had like 4 or 5 different floors I was responsible for cleaning. And every year on my birthday, every single last floor on that department threw me a birthday party. Each individual, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, like taking big old bags of Christmas gifts home. Everybody knew my kids' birthdays. You know what I'm saying? It's like, bro, like, I mean, like, if you got it like that, then you must be good at the job. You must like what you're doing enough to be good at it in order for things to go that far. You know what I'm saying? And I liked it, but what I didn't like about it was the fact that, like, it was something about me that felt like I was too good to be a servant. That's what it really was. It's like, I like my job. I like doing it as long as I don't got to serve other people's needs. I don't want people telling me what they need. I don't need people telling me their complaints. I just want to come in, do my job, don't hear from nobody, don't speak to nobody, leave me alone. I do what I got to do. Don't tell me about your problems. Don't tell me what you need. I already know the bathroom toilet overflooded. That's not my job. I'm just here to clean it. And I got to a point to where I started to cave in and go inward into myself and started to live in my own world instead of just embracing the world outside of me. And so I got too comfortable with just, with not wanting to, what's the word? I got too comfortable with not wanting to serve other people. I thought I was better than that. I still had leftover remnants of that person who automatically assumed that one day the world was just going to throw me everything I want just because I wanted it. You know what I'm saying? Like, and believe it or not, most of y'all is like that. Y'all would just never admit it. Most of y'all really is like that. Y'all would just never say it. Especially you 16 and 17-year-olds. You know what I'm saying? Who just now feeling yourself thinking y'all about to buy a quarter pound and become the plug and drive a scat pack and all of that. Like, especially y'all, like, y'all really do think like that for real. Like, I'm just about to wake up and the world gonna throw me whatever I want just because that's what I want. Like, and a lot of times we got leftover remnants of stuff like that in us, and that affect the things that we do with our life. You know what I'm saying? Like, that affect how we do what we pose to do, And so I got so caught up, I got so mad and frustrated, like, I don't want to do this. I don't want to be somebody's janitor. I don't want to wipe somebody's toilet. I don't want to pick up paper towels off the floor that somebody threw right next to the trash can, knowing they did it, and then turn around and complain that it's trash all over the floor. I don't want to do all that. That's nuts. I'm too good for that. I can be doing this. I could be doing that. I could just be doing this. I could just be doing that instead. Why am I sitting here doing this, but yet I'm so good at this? Why do I got a problem with something that I'm excellent at? Because of a fantasy in my head that made me think that I'm too good to be a servant. And it wasn't until, like, after I left the job, you know what I'm saying? I used to walk in hating my job, doing an excellent job. Like who does that? A person who hate their job does a bad job. How could somebody who hate their job still do a good job? Who could do a good job blindfolded? Who can actually do all of it in a matter of an hour and do nothing for the rest of the day and never even get a complaint about the fact that his job wasn't even done? How can somebody that hate their job work like that? Because I didn't hate the work. I just hated the fact that I was serving other people and I felt like some kind of slave or some kind of indentured servant or something like that. And I'm like, I'm too good for that, And it wasn't until I started to chase that fantasy of I'm too good for that, to where, like my life came crashing down because of a dream of me being too good to serve in my head. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what it really all boiled down to. Not that I had other things I could be doing that could have did so much better for me. But the truth of the matter is, you feel like you too good to work in the trenches. You know what I'm saying? You feel like you know, like you got too many options. You know what I'm saying? Like, and you might have too many options, which might be good or bad. But the moment you start feeling like you too good to be a servant is when you stop making the right moves with your life. You have to look at everything as if, what and who can I serve? What and who can I, it don't matter if you made $100,000 a month. What and who can I serve? That's how you stay going. But there's a problem with that though. There's a huge issue with being able to adapt that personality. Ego would make that hard to have. You can't have ego and an attitude of servitude at the same time, because all it's going to take is for somebody to come at you funny about something you missed, and you're going to throw all of it away. All it's going to take is for somebody to come at you sideways about something that you didn't even know you were supposed to be doing. And now you just like, man, forget all that. I ain't signing up for this. You know what I'm saying? But even if you was the king, you still a servant. The king is the biggest servant of everybody. The Bible says, he who is the greatest will be the servant of all. If you're the greatest of all, you will be the servant of all. That's what God's word said. And nobody can walk around that. It don't matter what you try to do. You try to walk around being the servant if you're the greatest, and you're going to fall. You start trying to feel like this is all about serving me, and your whole bubble is going to pop at some point in time. I can bet you. That is a supernatural law that God put into effect that he don't even have to lift a finger on. It will work all by itself. You can't walk around that. Anybody that wants to stay in a position of power eventually has to understand, I'm really everybody's slave and don't even know it. They don't even know that I'm their slave. Yeah, they might call me the king, but truthfully, that's not what I am. I'm your slave, man. Like real talk, I really am. You know what I'm saying? Like, I really am your servant. That's what I truly am. The Bible said this: the Son of Man did not come to earth to serve, he did not come to earth to be served, but to serve. He washed the feet of his disciples. He cooked them breakfast in the morning. You know what I'm saying? He's the King of Kings cooking breakfast for his disciples. They should be, hey, Lord, can I make you something to eat? Like, no, I got this, bro. Let me show you something. Let the Lord show you how to season this fish one time, bruh. Bro, and that's how God is for real, bro. He's God. You know, we can't escape that reality. Yeah, we're supposed to serve God. We can't escape that reality. But truthfully, he serves us too. He serves us better than we can serve him. We can't outserve him. And if we're supposed to be like him, then we got to have an attitude of being a servant. And I said all this for a reason. Eventually, I left the job. Years go by. You know, I was working as a salesperson at a store, and I hated my job there. All I wanted to do was clean. All I wanted to do was clean and make customers happy. They were all, we need better numbers. But I'm not thinking about numbers. I'm just thinking about what the customer want. Like what the customer need. Yeah, I know that's what the customer need, but you also got to balance numbers in that too. You got to balance adding this on and adding that on and adding this and you got to balance upselling along with serving the customer. And I'm like, but what if the customer don't want that? Well, I'm sorry, that's your job. And nothing against the job. That's just how they work. You know, you can't work like that. Like even me as a business owner, I still have to balance that sometime. But all I cared about is this is what the customer wanted. This is what they needed. I listened to their problems. They told me this. This is what I recommended. Yeah, but you still could have sold them something $400 more. but some $400 more would have been less money that they could have spent on a trip that they didn't even need to spend on something to take to their trip. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that's all I thought about was making sure my area was, I just cleaned the whole, I'm supposed to be selling stuff. I'm just cleaning. I'm making friends with customers. I'm figuring out what it is that they really, really want. And I could care less about what it is I'm supposed to be doing. I'm just trying to make people happy. And sure enough, man, people came back in the store days later. Where's that guy at who sold me the such and such? I need to come give him a hug. Like, you know what I'm saying? And that's what it turned into. It's like, all I wanted to do is just make somebody happy. That's it. Because, you know, like, what else am I? I'm like, it make me happy to make people happy. You know, and eventually I ended up going back to the janitor job. And like my first week back there is when I finally met the Lord. And I went back there with the attitude, like I went back there with a whole new attitude, because I should have been more grateful for that opportunity that I had to be able to have a government job and, you know, a pension and insurance and job security. And I should have been more grateful for the fact that that opportunity was given to me, because I was on my way to jail from being behind on child support, and they had a special program for people my age to be able to help turn their life around. I should have been more grateful for that. I didn't go find that job. It was given to me. You know, that morning I was preparing myself to go to jail for 30 days. You know what I'm saying? I'm 20 years old, you know what I'm saying? Trying to get on my feet and stuff like that, man. And like, I was eventually preparing myself for that, and it ended up getting turned around right there in the courtroom. You know, I should have been more grateful for the fact that I did nothing to get here. I got in trouble to get here. I got in trouble when I got there. You know what I'm saying? But the fact is that I went back there with an attitude of gratitude and said, you know what? The world don't owe me nothing, bro. Nobody owes me anything. Who am I? Like, it don't matter that I could be doing something better than this. I'm good at this. People appreciate the fact that I do this. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, like, people appreciate the fact that somebody is willing to do their job right, even though their job sucks. In reality, it does suck. In fact, every job sucks. Every single last job sucks. I'm self-employed to this day, and many days my job sucks. I chose this job, and I still think it sucks sometimes. I really do. And you want to know why I'm willing to accept that? Because I had many jobs, and they all sucked. At some point in time, they all sucked. So it really don't matter. When I was a professional photographer, like, there was a lot of days that sucked. You know, trying to chase somebody's kid around the park and waiting on them to smile while I'm sitting there in the mud trying to get on their angle. That sucked. I liked it because I was good at it, and other people appreciated the fact that I was willing to serve their need. But that don't take away from the fact that it sucked. It was great too. Like, it was great and it sucked. That's how all jobs are. Be a CEO of a multi-billion-dollar company and you will find aspects of your job that sucks. You will. They all do. So, you know, like, people appreciate the fact that somebody is willing to do what they're supposed to do regardless of how bad their job is sometime. You know, and like, and when I finally got back there, like, it was something inside of me that broke. That finally just broke. I don't know what it was, but I felt something in my spirit that just snapped in half. And that's when I finally met the Lord. Like, that's when he came to me when I was sitting downtown on the park bench. And he finally came to me and presented himself to me. And it was at that moment when he showed me exactly who I am and what I am. And from that day forward, I was able to embrace myself for who I am and what I am, and not for what I think I could be doing. You know, not for what, you know, like not for what better thing I could be doing in this life, or not for what more glamorous thing I could be doing in this life. He's like, bruh, dude, I put you in this position for a reason. That's why I still clean stuff to this day. You know, I had somebody ask me, like, do you like doing this more than you like taking pictures for people? I said, absolutely yes. Yes. I would choose detailing a car before doing a photo shoot any single day in my life. Except when it's time for me to take pictures of bugs. I really love that. I would put everything on a hold for that. But like when it come to like other things, people's like, so you'd rather do this than that? I'm like, yes, I would. You know, not for money, not for anything. It's just something in me that like to do it. You know what I'm saying? And that's just what God made me to be. He just made me that way. And when I was finally able to embrace myself, that's when he was like, okay, you know, so this job that you work so hard to get back into, you waited longer to get here than you've actually been here. I want you to leave and I want you to go start a business doing cleaning. I'm like, absolutely not. I said, absolutely not. That's what I really said though, for real. A lot of people won't admit to saying that to God, but I really did, and I probably shouldn't have. But the reason why I did is because I'm like, the last time I left this job to go start a business, it all came crashing down on me. This time, nah, I don't think I'm doing that this time. He's like, but why? You know, like, what's different now than, you know, what was different before? I'm like, ain't nothing different now than what's different before. He's like, you got one thing different now than what you had before. You know the God that made you. So, like, you are able to look at yourself for what you are and be able to make the right moves, because it's not that you know yourself. You know the God that know you. So anything you going through, you can tap right into that and say, Lord, I'm struggling with this. And he can sympathize with you and be like, okay, I got you right here. Okay, I got you right there. But all you really need to do is not have an ego and have an attitude to just want to serve people, man. And when you do stuff in your life, I'm sorry I went so far off topic, but this all ties in together. But when you do things with your life, when you start a career, when you know, like try and get married and start a family and stuff like that, you have to be able to do this. Have the attitude of somebody that just want to serve people, or else you won't be able to make the right moves. Just look at everybody's needs. He need that. She need this. They need a pair of shoes. Boom. They need something to eat. Boom. He need a haircut. Boom. They need their grass cut. Boom. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, bro, like when you live like that and that's how you live, bro, God will tap in. Like, he'll tap in with you and be like, okay, so Corey spent all day. Boom. The neighbor need their snow shoveled. Oh, boom. The other neighbor down the street need a haircut. Boom. And Corey spent his whole day like that. And God will tap in and be like, Corey needs another $100. I'm going to put that in his next customer's hand as a tip. You know what I'm saying? Like, and like, bro, like stuff like that happens. And then it's like, bro, like you can sit back and look at your life and be like, I'm happy. I'm fulfilled. Why am I fulfilled? Because I have an attitude of feeling. Like I have a feeling attitude, not a feeling, but a feel, like a feel up, not a feel like I feel bad, but I'm trying to fill cups all day long. Like Lord, like bro, like I sit back and say, Lord, put into me so I can put into everything else. And that's just how we do it. Like we just work like that. You know what I'm saying? Boom, Corey needs a car. Boom, Corey needs some gas. Boom, Corey got car trouble. He know 50 mechanics. Boom. You can do work for them and they can turn around and do work for you if you need it, if you ain't got the money. Boom. You know what I'm saying? It just work like that, bro. And why do it work like that? Because there's no ego there. And because there's no ego, there's an attitude of being able to serve other people, bruh. And if you doing stuff with your life and you think that you too good to serve other people, you will end up living a lie. Because nobody is too good to serve other people. That is what we supposed to do with ourselves. You know, I done talked about people being, you know, too big-headed about themselves. I done talked about people, you know, needing so much support and all that kind of stuff. Like, why do you think, you know, like rich, snobby people always got like a bunch of people around them? You know, they always keep, you know, like they always keep somebody less than them around them to be able to remind them of how much of a rich, snobby person they are. Like, why do you think they always got, you know, so many people that they need to prop them up about stuff all the time? They always need somebody to compliment their shoes, and they always need somebody to say, hey, nice car. And bruh, like, that's because like they not like their attitude is focused on them. What can I get out the deal? Or like, what can everybody else do for me? What can you do for me though? What can you do for anybody else? That's what you need to be saying. What can I do for people? You know, like I wake up, what it is can I do? What can I do? What can I do? What can I do for somebody? And the only way I was able to be like that, is just from first repenting of pride, repenting of ego, and just asking God to give me a new heart. You know what I'm saying? Like, this don't work all by itself. You know what I mean? Like, and a lot of people don't see this. Everybody who wants to be great at something has to be a servant. They have to be. This was the biggest part of all of it. It's that everybody wake up and say, I'm the man who gonna clap for me. Well, I'm sorry. That's gonna die real hard. And if you don't get a grip on it right now, you can end up losing yourself from the fact that it hurt you so badly when it all came crashing down, and you gonna feel like you too stuck and stagnant and too hurt, and you done went way too far down to ever even feel good about trying to come back up again. So anybody, everybody, you want to live a life of what is true. You don't want to live a life of, you know, what can I make my truth? You know, because some people try to make things their truth that's not necessarily true. You know? So stop living in your own bubble, in your own world, and start looking at whose needs can I serve? And whenever you do that, bro, like, God will just start raising you up and raising you up and raising you up and raising you up and raising you up. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's all it take is just whose needs can I serve? And if you don't know how to be like that, like, that's not necessarily the most common way to be. It's hard to be like that. Why is it hard to be like that? Because ego is the enemy. That was one of my favorite books, bro. Ego is stopping you from being like that. It gets in the way. Every time it's time to pick up a paper towel that somebody threw right next to the trash can and then filed a complaint that the bathroom was trashed and never got cleaned. After you know you did it, every time it's time to do that, you're going to flip out. You're going to start cussing people out. You're going to start saying, we need better customers. No, we don't need better customers. We just need you to do your job and stop focusing on yourself. Sorry they did it. Gotta get them for it. Just turn the other cheek and keep moving. You know? It's hard to be like that when ego settle in. When ego settle in, you're going to be like, man, I ain't about to be, I ain't doing all that for nobody. I ain't, man, listen, bro. Man, like, listen, bro. Like, one of these days, you're going to learn your lesson real hard. It is not a crime. It is not a crime to serve anybody or be a servant. In fact, that is the only way you are ever going to be able to do anything right. That's the only way you are ever going to be able to come up in this world and be somebody great. Because people love people who love them. That's true. People love people who love them. They don't like people who think that, you know, the love need to be given to them and they give no love back. You know, kiss me on the cheek, but I ain't gonna reach and kiss you back. You know, I'm like, I know that sound a little funny, but the world don't like people like that. You know, kiss my ring, but I ain't gonna kiss yours. You know, bow down to my boot, but I ain't bowing down to yours. Man, screw that. Don't nobody want to be bothered with nobody like that. Don't nobody want to support people like that. That's why you got so many people trying to do so many things and they complain about the lack of support. Why is support so hard to find? Because you need to first be a supporter. You know, you want to go and do something. You want people to support you. Go support them first. And keep doing it. And always do it. In fact, wake up and live for it. You know, I don't got nobody to support me at this and that. Why? Why? Because all I'm trying to do is make $1 so I can buy some designer clothes and stun on everybody. Well, I'm sorry. You on your own with that, buddy. Like, you know, you on your own with that, man. But you ain't trying to do nothing for the community. You ain't trying to make nobody else's life easier. You just all about you. And truthfully, man, you're going to end up living in a lie like that. And once you come out of that lie, man, it's going to hurt. It's going to hurt real bad. But you know what? Embrace yourself for who you are, man. Like, just look at all of your flaws, all of your potential, your character, your this, your that. And just embrace yourself for who and what you are. That's it. And remember every little thing I said. I didn't even mean to talk an hour. It just ended up being that way. You know? But at the same time, man, you don't want to end up doing everything that I just said in this video and cause yourself to live a lie. You want to do the other things I said in this video and just live by what is true. What's true? Okay, I'll tell you what's true. The word of God is true, right? He who wants to be the greatest has to be the servant. That's true. If you try and walk around that, you living in a lie. You know? Like, you just live a lie. That's it. If we're supposed to be Christ-like and Christ came here to serve and not to be served, then I guess that must mean that we're supposed to be doing the same thing. Serving and not to be served. If somebody wants to serve us, you know, that's their job. You know? Great. I appreciate that. You know, I need to be served on many occasions. And I appreciate everybody for it. And it's like, if we all have the attitude of filling each other's cups, none of our cups will ever be empty. Nobody's cup would be empty if we all pouring back and forth into each other. You know, we all just doing our job and embracing ourselves for who we are. You know, that's it. But other than that, man, it's time to get to work. I might actually be late. Let me see. I might even be late to work, man. I've been talking for an hour, but other than that, man, y'all have a good day. I got to get off this camera. See you later. Have a blessed one. In Jesus' name, amen.